Hello and welcome back to the Six Nations preview show ahead of another week of exciting rugby action starting off at BT Murrayfield this Saturday. The Welsh going for that grand slam in this year's Six Nations campaign, and Scotland will be doing all they can to stop that. Team news is in, and this is what Gregor Townsend has to say.
Well, it's a game in the championship that we'll do all we can to win. We are obviously out the running of the championship, but we still want to play to our potential, show our true picture of what we're capable of, and finish as high up the championship as possible. Playing at home requires even more determination because you play in front of your supporters and it's a last home game of the season, so it's time we delivered an 80-minute performance. Yeah, well, we obviously had 2 weeks to reflect on why things didn't work over in France. Part of that is how we coached and what we did in training. Tactically, how we played the game, but also selection. And we looked at every position. We also reflected on the fact that we're out the championship now, so if there's someone out there who's really earned his opportunity, for example Ali Price, and this is a good time to see if it helps the team win at the weekend. Greg is, I think, the only player who's played our last 6 tests or started our last 6 tests, so he's a key part of our squad. He's obviously going to play a different role this week from the bench, but we see him playing an important part of the game on Saturday.
So, gentlemen, Greg Laidlaw not in the Scotland lineup, a bit of a surprise as well, but his performance against France, do you think that's part of the reason why he's been dropped, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, he's gained only something like 12 metres in the last 3 games, so it's obvious that Townsend is just looking for someone that's a wee bit quicker at the breakdown, someone that can really take the game forward. Obviously, Greg Laidlaw has a brilliant kicking game, but Ali Price is just a wee bit younger, wee bit sharper, and is really, really good at the breakdown.
And Ali Price, of course, Fraser, is one of the players who's been labelled as one of the quickest players to get that ball away from the ruck. Do you think he could, prove pivotal in this match against the Welsh on Saturday?
I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise. The coach has obviously opted for a different option for this game specifically. It's always a bit of a shock to see the captain dropped, but I'm sure Gregor Townsend will have a plan in mind. And
one of the players returning for Scotland this weekend is Finn Russell. He, of course, missed that match against France after enduring a concussion with Club Racing 92. But exciting to see Finn Russell back. It's one of those players that Scotland really missed against France with that creativity spark in the team, Bryce.
Yes, he is a pivotal playmaker to that team. We all know what he's capable of. He has moments of madness and moments of brilliance in almost equal measures. So sometimes he can completely turn a game on its head, which is what Scotland quite often need.
And there'll be some personal accomplishments this weekend as well, with Tommy Seymour and Johnny Gray reaching half a century of caps for Scotland. A remarkable achievement. We'll go to Johnny Gray first. Of course, a player who's been shining for Glasgow Warriors and really important in that scrummage, Fraser.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've both spoken of what a remarkable achievement it is, which you can't take anything away from that. And Scotland, more than ever, need their experienced players, and more importantly their players on form, which these two lads are.
And Tommy Seymour as well, Bryce, a player who's been fantastic for Scotland when he has featured.
Yeah, I mean, I think he made his debut in 2013, if I'm right in saying that. And it seems like he's been about that Scotland squad forever now. He's kind of cemented his position on that wing. He's fast, he's electric, and he's one of the best wingers that we've seen since the likes of Lamont. He probably actually played with Lamont, which wasn't that long ago, so maybe it's not that much of a compliment, but he's definitely another one that Wales will have their eye on to keep quiet.
Well, the former Johnny Gray spoke to the press earlier this week, and he says this 50th cap isn't about him.
It's not about me. Like I said, this week's huge. Last week was very tough to take, like I said. So, like I said, to be here, it's such a special feeling. Something I never thought I'd do when I was younger, and yeah, to be here is very lucky. So, but it's not about me. It's whoever's out on that pitch, whoever gets selected. They do the job for Scotland.
Well, Fraser, Johnny just saying there about it's not really about him going to this game, but it's some achievement getting 50 caps in, especially when it's in front of your home crowd at BT Murrayfield.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure he's only thinking about focusing on the team, and that's why he's saying that. But you can't take anything away from that amount. It's going to be a huge occasion for him.
Do you think there's less stress for Scotland this weekend because they're out of the championship for their hopes to win it, but they could upset the party for Wales, who, as we touched on earlier, go in for that Grand Slam?
Yeah, yes and no. Obviously, this tournament is quite a large indicator for the Rugby World Cup, which will be held in Japan later on this year. So this is almost like a test for them. Wales are obviously a big team, but they'll need to perform against the big teams if they want to go far in the World Cup. So this is kind of just a wee bit of a taster for them at the moment. And if they make a mark, make a name for themselves in this Six Nations, well, it's all the better for them.
And there's been some big results in there, of course. France, there was a bit of luck that went in their favour in that opening match, a bit of drop balls from France, but took full advantage of it. And I think probably Wales, if it's fair to say, is a team that maybe people didn't expect going to the Six Nations that they'd be in the position that they are now.
Absolutely. I think you're right in saying at the start of the competition, if you'd put Wales, unbeaten as they are, not many people would have guessed that. But I mean, they're there for a reason. They're there on merit. So obviously, the team to beat at the moment.
And Matt Taylor as well spoke to press earlier this week, and he highlighted that it's important that Scotland match the physicality of the Welsh.
I mean, this is an extremely passionate group of players, and from my experiences with this group, as I said, as a collective, coaches and players, I think it's a collective. We've got to make sure that that's mentioned. As a collective, we weren't happy with our performances on the weekend and against France, and we've come back, very keen to make sure we put that right this weekend. And that starts with, first and foremost, a performance full of identity and full of passion, and we'll need that, and we'll need to be physical this weekend against Wales, who pride themselves on their physicality. And I think that aspect of the game is a huge area that we'll focus on and make sure that as a group, senior players and coaches, that we understand the relevance of that physical battle that we're facing on the weekend.
So Bryce, obviously the forwards have been criticised throughout this tournament for getting to the breakdown as long with the scrum half who typically plays Greg Laidlaw. Do you expect Scotland can match the physical battle this weekend?
Yes, as we know, WP Nell is back in the side. He is a massive addition to that Scotland front line.
Obviously played fantastic as well for Edinburgh this season.
Yes, fantastically for Edinburgh. He's just a real physical presence, but even more than that, he has a lot of experience at the top level, and he is someone that maybe some of the younger, less experienced players will be looking to. Although, as we say, 50 caps for two of the players now. There's maybe not too many less experienced players in that squad.
Mm-hmm. Are you expecting Scotland to maybe nick this at the end, or prove off the big upset at the weekend, Fraser?
I mean, I don't think you can write this team off. I mean, Bryce has touched on it. It's such an experienced team, and they will know what they have to do to beat Wales. But I mean, you can't deny the challenge that's ahead for them.
A bit disappointing as well with Henry Pyrgos not included. He did train earlier this week alongside John Barclay as well, who's back in training. But disappointed to see them not even included on the bench.
Maybe for him personally. I think for Scotland fans, though, they'll be happy to see Ali Price, who is playing brilliant rugby for Scotland at the moment and for Glasgow. I would be very surprised if we didn't see Laidlaw come off the bench round about the 70-minute mark and put his stamp on the game, especially if we're in a winning position. But maybe there's just not quite enough room for three scrum halves. A
big test for Blair Kinghorn as well, who's come into that fullback position, replacing Stuart Hogg, who again is out after that knock he suffered in the Ireland match at BT Murrayfield. But a game he probably relishes. Another player from Edinburgh, obviously locals to us, that has really come along this season.
Yeah, I mean, he made an absolutely massive statement with that hat-trick earlier on in the competition, and it's never easy replacing anyone, especially someone like Stuart Hogg. But yeah, he'll definitely know what needs to be done.
Are we both hopeful Scotland win at the weekend?
I don't know if hopeful is the word that I'd say, but yes, never say never.
Other matches this weekend include France. They're taking on Ireland in Dublin. A match probably you'd favour the Irish, despite France playing very well in the Six Nations, especially against Scotland in that last match.
Yeah, the atmosphere in Dublin is always electric. I think it would be very hard to say that they're not going to get behind their team. And you know, Ireland again are another team who will be looking forward to the Rugby World Cup and wanting to impress.
And as well, England hosting Italy at Twickenham. Obviously, this Italy team, no points yet in the Six Nations Championship, but you hope that favourite is in England, but they won't lose out in that bonus point that England managed to achieve against France in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be weighing on their minds to not just win, but to win handsomely, because it's a huge opportunity, as you say, Italy, yet to pick up points. So they really do have to go and put on a show there.
Fraser, Bryce, thank you very much. This has been the Six Nations preview show. Be sure to check out all of our written articles over on E-Info News, and let's hope that maybe the Scots can prove a miracle this weekend.